News Talk Radio, CJAD 800.
So Caroline Dhavernas, who is a great Montreal actress. How are you doing?
Thank you so much. I'm great.
You know, it's wonderful. So this new show, Hannibal.
Yeah.
That's like a real big show. I'm looking at the cast.
It's pretty wonderful. The cast is amazing. And I'm really proud of it. I rarely say this about my own work, but I think it's really good.
And how does it tie into the whole Hannibal Lecter story?
Well, we start a little bit before. When our show starts, Hannibal hasn't been found guilty or is not incarcerated, which makes it really interesting to see him be out and about doing his thing while everyone around him is looking for killers and the serial killer that is, there's 8 women who have been killed and we're looking for the killer. And Will Graham is this guy who's a special agent and works for the FBI. He has this gift, this cursed gift, where he can empathize with a serial killer and therefore try to stop them in their tracks before they do more damage. And I play Alana Bloom, who's this psychiatrist who works for the FBI as well to help with the profiling of the serial killers. And she's the only one who really sees that this dark gift that he has can put him into really difficult places. While everyone's trying to use him to stop more murders, she's concerned that he might, lose himself.
So how deeply do you get into the character of a psychiatrist? What did you do to prepare for this?
I didn't prepare that much. I mean, I read books about profiling in the 80s and how it all started, and I read a little bit of Red Dragon, but they're really hard to read on your own at night when you're alone in your apartment in Toronto where you don't really know anybody. Because all of a sudden I thought all these serial killers were out and about in my neighborhood and would come in, and so I stopped, at some point. I just went back to my good old reading. But it was quite fascinating to learn more about these cases that have gone down in history. But I think the show, the violence is not gratuitous, which was the only reason why I wanted to, because I'm not usually attracted to horror films or that genre, but I had worked with the writer before, Brian Fuller. He wrote Wonder Falls, a Fox show that I worked on 10 years ago, and we had wanted to work together again and finally found the right project.
Caroline Dhavernas is a Montreal actress who is one of the stars of the show's called Hannibal, and it's Thursday night, like tonight on NBC.
Like tonight, yeah.
That's historically a very, very strong spot. So
it's been difficult recently for NBC. Yeah, it's been really difficult. But apparently last week they were happy with their numbers. So it'll be interesting to see tonight if they go up. Hopefully they will, because I really think that it's a wonderful show, and I think people will talk about it. And I really rarely say this about my work. I was so surprised when I saw the finished product. Everyone is amazing. It's slick. It's really kind of sexy, even though the visuals are kind of hardcore sometimes. But I think Mads Mikkelsen, who's our Hannibal, makes Hannibal sexy somehow. I don't know how he pulled it off. But he can't be that crazy Hannibal that we knew before. Anthony Hopkins was incarcerated. He could be as crazy as he wanted. Our guy is walking the streets and no one really knows who's doing this. So he can't, it has to be a lot more subtle. And he's just such a wonderful Danish actor. I've been following his films for years. And
if you had any, Caroline, you came from an acting family. Both your parents were actors.
Absolutely.
But if you had any advice for somebody who aspired to be an actor, what would it be? Just a simple word of advice.
Hang in there. I mean, there are so many people out there who are good at acting and who want to act.
And when you first went to auditions, like not here in Montreal, but when you started going to auditions in New York and Los Angeles, how daunting was that to walk into a room and have an Emmy winner and a Tony winner and people you'd grown up watching auditioning against you?
Well, what's interesting, I've been in that position where I have a part already and we're auditioning to find the sister or the boyfriend, and it's really interesting to see how actors walk in and out, and they're all talented. When you have access to that type of audition, you're talented, but it's usually just some kind of chemistry that either happens or doesn't between the actor and the part, between the actor and the other actor. So it's a lot about that, and I really wish that actors wouldn't forget as often as they do, and I do all the time, that it's not always about proving that you can act. It's just something that happens or doesn't happen, and just know that it's a lot about sometimes you don't have the right color of hair or eyes, or it can be that silly. So.
It's so nice to meet you, and I wish you all the best.
You.
Like Hannibal.
Thank you very much.
And Caroline Dhavernas.
Exactly.
I appreciate
you got it.
I appreciate you coming in. And we actually filmed this so you can see how wonderful Caroline is. She acted like she enjoyed speaking to me. She's a great actress.